Looking for a smartwatch? Then this should be on your short list. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out this. This is the Amazfit GTS 4 smartwatch. And Amazfit, if you haven't heard of them, have made a ton of different smartwatches, and their evolutionary steps have been really fascinating to watch. Each watch is significantly better than the previous, and this is a solid contender. This is a solid possibility for you if you're looking for a smartwatch. As you can see, it has a lot of watch faces. In fact, there are over 150 watch faces in its library, and this is just one of them. I'll show you in a close-up some of the other choices that you have. It's really fun. Now, you'll also notice it has a rather striking 1.75-inch AMOLED screen. It's 7 ounces. It's super thin. In fact, it also uses the quick release, so if you don't like this sort of rubberized strap, no worries. You can put any quick release 20mm strap on here at all, including putting a leather strap on if that's your preference. It is primarily designed for health and fitness, but it's also what I generally call a notification watch. Now, having said that, let me hasten to say you can actually receive phone calls on it, and you can talk to people. You can play music on it. So it's not just receiving notifications, it gives you some ability to interact. Pretty cool. One of the biggest features is it has dual band GPS that they say is 99% as accurate as the GPS on a separate standalone unit. Why would you want that? Well, if you're going for a hike, it's a fitness watch, so it can track your hike, but it can show you on a map where you are. And if you just say, I'm done or I'm lost, you can actually use an app on the watch to say, take me back to my starting point. And since it uses the GPS system, it actually knows where you are, and you can navigate in real time. You don't need to have your phone. You don't need to pull your phone out. The watch will do that for you. Another really cool feature, built-in Alexa. And there's an offline voice mode too. But with Alexa, you can literally just pull it up to your wrist and just talk to it. And then the lights turn on in your house as you're pulling in, or your security system turns off, or whatever it is you use Alexa for, you can do it from your watch. Pretty sweet. Obviously, Bluetooth connection to your phone. I paired it with my Apple iPhone 14 Pro. You can use it with Android phones, works with Samsung and Pixel and LG, and you name the phone. It's going to be able to work with this through their app called Zepp. I'll come back to that in just a minute. So you can store and play music. Like I said, it has 150 sport modes. So last night when I got on my elliptical, I just turned it on and said start, and it just started tracking all of my biometrics in real time, storing them all, and then synchronizing that with the app on the phone, which is really great. So what's it storing? Well, it uses BioTracker 4.0, which is a biometric sensor system. There's a lot of stuff on the back. In fact, let me give you a close-up so you can see the back of the watch. That's almost all sensors. And BioTrack 4.0 tracks your heart rate, your blood oxygen saturation, your stress level, and your breathing rate, which means, yes, it also can do sleep tracking. So one of the very first questions you should have then is, what about battery life? Because my Apple Watch lasts about 30 hours without it dying. Well, the good news is that I've been using this for 2 days now, and it's still at 65% battery. And you can see I have it on full brightness because I like that. And it has an always-on mode. So when we get to the demo, we're getting closer and closer. When we get to the demo, I'll show you the always-on mode, which just shows you the time. And then when it gets a notification, you can change this, but it can like wake up on notification or on your wrist movement or on a tap. And then you go to whatever your watch face is. So it's never just dark, which is really nice. So let's go back now. 150 sport modes. It auto recognizes 8 sports. And there's an update coming that will actually let it give you actual data about your physical, status. And you can get that via like earbuds if you're using this via Bluetooth to listen to music and you're doing a certain sport. It can tell you you've run a mile and your heart rate is, So really, really neat. It's also waterproof to 50 meters. So if you want to wear it while you're swimming, they got that covered too. Oh, so much. Now, I want to give you 2 demos. And the first one is I just want to show you what you can do on the watch, and then I want to show you what you can do on the app. So let's switch to those. We're starting with the always on mode, but if I moved my wrist, or I can push the button, then it brightens up and gives me my watch face. So I can push and hold. I think I moved it there. Push and hold, and I can try different watch faces. These are the ones I've already downloaded from the app, and I can just tap and that becomes my new watch face. And you can see heart rate, footsteps or number of steps I've taken, and charge level. I swipe down and I get that sort of common little set of mini icons that let me do certain functionality, like put it in theater mode. I'm not going to actually do that. There's more. And I can also go back. If I swipe from the bottom, then I can see my notifications. Not a lot going on yet this morning. And then from the right, I can get other views and other information. And here's how I'm doing with my heart rate, which is always a little elevated when I'm actually doing a video. It's just sort of how it goes. And I can go back. Let's go back here. And if I swipe from this side, now I'm in Alexa. So that's pretty easy to work with. And those are the primary functions. Let's see. I can go to settings, and you can see there's a bunch of different settings you can change here. And instead of that, let's just, I'm going to push the button one more time. And now you can see here are all the primary features and functions. And so I can swipe down. And obviously, if I'm going to do stuff like check my blood oxygen level, that's not going to work really well since it's not on my actual wrist. So lots and lots of great functions. And notice it also does cycle tracking. Many people are interested in that feature. And there's even a Find My Phone feature, which is really great. And so it has all of the features of the big fancy ones too. Let's go back to that main screen. And now let me switch because I want to show you the app too. Great. Hang on just a sec. So here we are in the Zepp app, and you can see it gives me the same information in a different format. And I never get sleep data because I actually don't like wearing watches while I sleep. So I just sort of don't get that information. But you can see that its most recent record of my heart rate was 75 beats per minute, and that it categorizes me as being relaxed from a stress perspective. And there's lots of other things. Here's my elliptical workout where I burned 329 calories yesterday. That was pretty good. And I can then go to the watch by, I think, tapping there. So now you can see it's figured out what watch face I'm using. And then I can do things like change my watch face. So here's the library of lots of faces. Now the animated ones like that do consume more energy, so I would be cautious about picking one of those, but let's pick this one. And then all I have to do is tap on sync, and watch the watch itself is, once it's synchronized, it should just automatically switch to the new face. So let's see how that works out in just a couple of seconds. It's going pretty quick, but it's really fun. And one of the faces you can choose is your own photo with the watch information superimposed on top. So there we go. Now we have our new watch face. Super easy and fun. One of my favorite features, actually. Health monitoring, you can set up your notifications. I have everything turned on except for the standing reminder, which I don't tend to be very good at. That's another story. They have their own app store. Check this out. So there's third-party apps and games and stuff where you can actually grab them if you want. Oh, and check out the always on for this particular watch face is just the hands. That's a really smart look. And you can get to like watch settings. It's so much easier to change things in the app than it is on the watch itself. But you can turn off things like the always on display if you don't want it. Let's go back. And there are some specific app settings. So for example, for weather, I went into weather, and that let me switch from Celsius to Fahrenheit, which is my preference. And you can see I am currently in Gun Barrel, which is a suburb of Boulder, Colorado. And let's see, so here's a bunch of other things you can check for firmware updates and everything. Really, really cool. And then if you go down the bottom here, you can see there's other information you can get and store. So it's really easy to work with. I really like the fact that I can leave the watch on my wrist and then use the app to manage 95% of what I want to do. So cool. Let me jump back on camera. It's a pretty cool watch, actually. Now, I did want to point out a couple of things. The first of which is that it uses a custom charger. It comes in the box, which literally contains the watch, the charger, and instructions. That's it. So kind of a big box for such a little watch, but I think that they're thinking of the thud factor, right? But that's the charger. And if you lose this wire, you're out of luck. So I consider that a limitation. I really wish more watches would just use Qi charging. I know it's not really designed for that, but even just as an emergency backup, it would be nice to know that if my cable broke or frayed or I lost it or it's at home and I'm at work, I wouldn't have to worry about it because I'd have this alternative. Instead, what I would recommend is if this is going to be your watch, then you probably want to get a spare one of these cables because it's easier to get it when you don't need it than to have to wait and wait and wait, watching your watch slowly go down in battery because you have to order a new one. So that's a limitation. And otherwise, you know, it really is an interesting option. And price-wise, it's pretty close to the Apple Watch SE, which is about $50 more. So it all depends on what you're going to use it for, what you're going to use it with, and especially whether you're a fan of Google or Samsung or Apple. Maybe you don't like some of those really big corporations for whatever reason. That's cool. I don't judge you. So maybe you'll never put an Apple Watch on your wrist, or maybe you're an Android person and it would just be weird to have an Apple Watch with an Android phone. So this is a very legitimate competitor, and you're seeing it was just in always on mode, so you probably couldn't tell, but it was just showing the time, and then as soon as it noticed my motion, then it brought up that whole full bright watch face. So we need to talk about the price, but before we get to the price, I'm going to ask if you could subscribe to my channel. A click or a tap on that subscribe button, then turn on notifications so you know about my new content. We're connected. Fantastic. All right. This is the Amazfit GTS 4 smartwatch. It comes in autumn brown, infinite black, misty white, or rosebud pink. This is obviously the black watch. And it is $199.99 at Amazon.com, which is a pretty solid competitive price for a watch with this many functions and features and an always on mode. I really like always on. I really dislike looking at my wrist and seeing a blank black screen. That just seems kind of lame. So I'm so glad all the latest generation are now putting something on that screen so you can see what time it is. Basic functionality for a watch, right? So that's everything. I'm gonna go and listen to some music off of my watch, which means I'll have to catch you in my next video.